and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. It is time to do another section of Walking in the Rain. So I have pulled out my symbols that are red or blue or yellow. And we're going to start off with those. So let me zoom you in. Make sure my canvas is set where it needs to be. We are on slightly bigger sections because we are on the last hurdle. I've actually pulled out a different tray pen today. Finally. It's not like my tray stands aren't handy, you know, they're right there. So yeah, I need to make a bit more of a conscious effort of varying things up. So I've gone to one of my firm favourites, our first colour tray that we ever did of pink, which is still one of our most popular stock colour trays. But yeah, I hope everybody is having an amazing week. I am filming this the morning? Yeah, it's still morning. So I need to get this section completed and get this video uploaded so it's actually up for you guys. But it is Thursday. I have no idea, to be honest, where the week has gone this week. It seems as though we are all of a sudden in the second half of the week, and I feel like it should still be Tuesday. Yeah, I think I need to get myself a plan of action in place for the upcoming weeks. But we are still waiting on our Advent painting. They are currently now looking into potentially getting some remade and air freighted over because ours are still stuck in customs when they should have been here a month ago. So we're trying to take it with a pinch of salt. We're still working on some other exciting things in the background. So we're trying to focus on those at the moment and maybe bring some of those forward a little bit. But yeah, there's still loads going on. So it's not like I don't have anything to do. But yeah, I'd love to know that the paintings were here, they were on their way to you, and sort of have that breathe in relation to Christmas and Christmas stock. So excuse me, it is what it is. I say we are just taking it as it comes. I think the last few weeks has sort of gone on top of me this week a little bit. Hence I've not got as much done as I would have liked to have done. I had a day earlier on this week. This is probably what's flummoxed me actually, is losing this day. But yeah, I think it was Tuesday. Orders still got packed and went out. All that sort of happens. But other than that, I was having a rather flat day. It was one of those days where, well, it still kind of is. There's just so much on my to-do list, but it was one of those days where I just could not, for the life of me, get going on any of the multiple things on my to-do list. I have them every now and then. And in effect, it's just my body saying, you need to stop for today. So yeah, so I was talking to hubby on the phone, and I was like, I really need to do this, or I need to do this, or whatever. And I'm like, and I'm getting nowhere with any of them. And he's like, yeah, it basically, I needed to give myself permission to not do anything on that to-do list. Otherwise, I would have sat there just beating myself up for not getting anything done. Nothing was urgent. Anything urgent got done. But yeah, it was like I just beat myself up for not getting anything productive done when I have a to-do list that needs doing. And I just needed to give myself the permission to not do any of it. And then I went on to have a productive day outside of work. So at least the day was sort of saved in that way. But yeah, it's now thrown me off for the rest of the week. But I knew it was what was needed. Otherwise, I'd be beating myself up for doing nothing all day. But yeah, does anybody else have days like that where they feel like they need to give themselves permission to not do anything that day? Because otherwise it will just disappear anyway with nothing getting done. Yeah, bit of a random week this week. On a plus note, my diamonds for my Heaven and Earth next big project after this one, my Heaven and Earth design, have arrived. They arrived yesterday. So I have my Heaven and Earth design diamonds. I also have my canvas from Evermoment. I have one more canvas coming as a comparison, and then I'm going to make a decision as to which one to use for my Heaven and Earth design. Because Evermoment have a bit of a unique thing where they do number them 1 to 10 on the canvas, and I'm not sure if that will confuse little old me. So I have ordered from another company a poured glue canvas. They've confirmed it's poured glue, and it was cheaper than Evermoment. So I'm just waiting for that to arrive, and then I'll be able to, then I'll be like fully ready. So my plan was to get potentially this section done on Walking in the Rain this week while I don't have another big canvas to do. However, it's been one of those weeks, so I haven't diamond painted at all this week. This is the first time I'm diamond painting with you guys. But because I have already done my video on preparing to order my diamonds, and my diamonds have arrived, I'm going to try, life dependent, on getting a few more sections of this one done so we can get this one wrapped up, and then I can put up the video, or put live for everybody the video of me preparing for my diamonds. Then I can, of course, do my video on my diamonds arriving and kitting up for my Heaven and Earth design project. And then my canvas should be here. So I'll be able to do a comparison across the two and make my decision. And then we'll be able to start that Heaven and Earth design project. So yes, getting very close, but it does mean that I can potentially do some sections of this off camera, and we can get that started sooner rather than later, which would be good. Right, I think that is all my symbols that are not black. So I only have black symbols left, for which I have 2 big trays. So we'll bring those out, and I think I'm actually going to try and get these. I seem to have caught just a couple of pinks that are going to be the rest of the umbrella over here. Keep an eye and check that none of them are needed up here, but I'm just going to try and get these out of the way so they don't keep staring at me. Got any of those over there? No, they all seem to be different pinks to what's over there. We have an upside down letter T. Did I put that with the letter T's? I did. I like it when where I put something makes sense. Not always the case, but I like it when it is. And then we just have 3 sort of outline colours as well. Where did I put the straight line? I put it as a letter L. Kind of makes sense. So get these single place done. So yeah, I hope everybody is having an amazing week. A better week than me. Maybe you've just had the odd off day yourself as well. And hopefully the fact that I've had one too makes things a little bit easier for you. You can forgive yourself. I'm working on forgiving myself for having an off day. Hoping to pull it back a little bit this week. Right, they're my little fiddly parts of my umbrella done. So now let's work on building out these colours and get another section finished. So comments, etc. We are on comments from last week, potentially a little bit of the week before, depending on when people have watched videos. But update from the cat lady. She said they went over to Cumbria on Tuesday. They looked at a few houses. One stands out, she says, and once they hear back from their buyer about a sale, they are going to look again a bit more seriously. She says they found a 4-bed, which will allow her to have a craft room. Woohoo! She says, so that is a favourite at the moment. Perfect. You need to be able to have a craft room. Some space for you, especially because you do quite a few different crafts. She says, fingers crossed it'll still be there when they are ready to move forward. She said houses in the area have increased, so it is a bit dearer, she says, but it is still cheaper than where she is at home, which is always a benefit if you are going from moving south to moving north. Houses are cheaper north in general. There are a few little pockets that might be a little bit different, but in general it is cheaper up north. She says she'll be looking to order the Christmas painting as soon as it's available. She says as they are starting to recover their living space, so she'll be able to work on the dining table. She says keeping interested in projects is still difficult, which I get, especially when you move in and you've got so much other stuff going on in the background. But she does have a crochet blanket on the go that's easy to pick up and put down, which is always key in things like when you've got things going on like this. She says family are up this weekend for hubby's birthday. Eldest arrives tonight and the youngest arrives tomorrow. So they're just taking each week as it comes. And that's from Tina, the cat lady. Good and bad news. Good news that you're still able to all get together for hubby's birthday, because I know that was very much up in the air with the move previously. Good about potentially getting a craft room. Make the trouble, once you start moving into a house with a craft room, that will probably make all the moving trouble seem nowhere near as bad, or at least worth it. Worth the trouble due to the fact that you've got a craft room. Oh, okay, I managed to have a diamond that I didn't tip back in. Get in there. So yeah, hopefully it all works out in the end for the best. Liv, she says, hello Zesties. She says, hope that we're well. She says, sorry about the delays of your stock. Thank you. So are we. We are just taking it as it comes at the moment. Very much trying to dig out positives from all of it. Like the fact that we've got some other projects sort of, it's not so much like new stock or anything like that, but we've got some other stuff going on in the background that we may be able to, say, bring forward and sort of work on at around the same sort of time. It might line up well. So yeah, so things like that are sort of, we just keep trying to find the little positives in it. Oh, well, because it's not here yet, we can do this, or because it's not here yet, we can get ready with that. And that's sort of the only thing that's keeping me going. It's keeping me going and not just making me curl up in a ball, I think. But yeah, every now and then it gets me, but I say sort of twist my thinking round and make it the best. Try and make the best of a bad situation. We still do have plenty of time to be able to get everything to everybody in all the various countries. So we're grateful for that. And yeah, we shall let you know as soon as we know, and hopefully we'll be able to potentially just straight up launch, rather than potentially having a delay. So the original thought was, say it turned up today, it's not due to turn up at all, it's still stuck in customs, but the original plan was if it turns up today, we would showcase it on a video on Saturday and have the launch that following Friday, which would give us chance to prep everything we need to prep. But what we might do instead is, for example, if it turned up today, we might spend today and tomorrow finalising the little bits we need to finalise and getting things ready for the website and upload it for Saturday and just go. When it arrives, we have plenty of stock. So it's not that we need to give people notice to be quick on the button. There is plenty of stock to go around. And while some things are limited in quantities, as in, you know, we don't produce it ourselves, we can't just do more. We have ordered ample stock that I'm happy that we will have stock for, I mean, one of the items maybe a week, the rest quite a bit longer. So I don't have fear of anybody missing out, because we haven't given notice beforehand. But we're playing it by ear, and a lot will depend exactly on when it does turn up as to how soon we can get it turned round and up on the site. We have put the cover paper up for autumn, Halloween and Christmas. So they are limited in the fact that they're seasonal. So autumn will be up for autumn and will come down at the end to be replaced by winter. But they're not limited in relation to numbers. So they will still be available to purchase when our painting does come in. So if you prefer to wait and get everything together, that is perfectly fine. We have not put anything up with limited numbers. So hopefully that helps. Swee 1979 says, hi Rebecca, said they love the painting. They said it's 22 degrees in the state of Ohio. She said it's a very cold winter day in Ohio. Yeah, the coldness has hit here. I will say we had a glorious week last week. I think it was just sort of the last final goodbye to summer last week, and I think we are definitely in autumn now over here. Sometimes it's winter, sometimes it feels like autumn. Like with anything, it varies. Like with the British weather, it can vary from day to day. You can have all 4 seasons in one day sometimes. Kaz, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes that I'm well. She says she is listening to this while she's doing some data input for her vaccine clinic. Like the fact that you are mixing pleasure with work. Makes things a lot easier to do and deal with. And yeah, happy I can keep you company in the boring input stuff. Jess, she says she had to Google it. She says, but she finds the chain process in real estate, she says, thoroughly confusing. She says, why is it required? She said it's hard enough to get a single transaction to go off without a hitch. She says throw a chain of them and it's impossible. She says in the USA, she says it's unheard of. She says, is it because of limited availability of housing? Possibly to a certain extent, but basically the chain is having somewhere to move to. So if we sold this house, we would need the proceeds of the sale from this house to go towards our new house. Whether our new house is dearer or cheaper, we would still need the proceeds of the sale to go to the next one. And, you know, you don't get the whole moving in until that sort of process is completed. So sometimes you can have a house being sold that maybe somebody's unfortunately passed away, so the house is empty, and you can have somebody who is a first-time buyer or a buyer that's not selling a house first. So maybe they've been renting and they're going to buy a house, or they're buying it as a landlord maybe to rent out, so they don't, you know, they don't have a house to sell first. And in that instance, it's straighter. So one gets bought, it's one house. You know, it's a house that nobody lives in, and it's somebody buying it who doesn't have to sell another house. But yeah, when you get somebody who already owns a house moving in, they've got nowhere to live otherwise in between. So it can sometimes cause quite a bit of a chain, depending on how many people in the chain are in that same situation. Sometimes it could just be 2 people. So, for example, we could be buying an empty house from somebody who's passed away, and we could be selling our house to somebody who's a first-time buyer. In that instance, there is only 2 people in the chain, so it's a lot easier. But yeah, it varies. I don't know how it's quite done in the States. So for example, you always buying an empty house? Does your house have to be empty before you can sell it? How do you afford to be making payments on 2 houses? Like, how does that whole only purchasing one house work? Yeah, like, do you basically have to pay for 2 houses and hope that yours will sell, and you're basically paying for 2 houses that you could potentially be stuck with if they don't sell? Yeah, I don't quite get how it would work otherwise. Blossom Chops says she also loves the zesty lemon and the black cherry putties. Yes, black cherry is a really popular putty. I love the sort of zesty lemon, fresh linen, ocean escape and tropical type ones. I like the fresh and zesty type ones. Is my personal preference, but yeah, the black cherry is definitely a popular one, as long as many of the others, to be fair. It depends what sort of change, whether you like a change as well. Karen, she says, hi Rebecca and Zesties. She says she can see the join button on her YouTube feed. She said, so whatever you did worked. Oh, perfect. Maybe it's something that you only get after a certain amount of time, maybe. Maybe that's what's confused me with it. I don't know. I'm glad it's there. Anything that makes things easier for you guys and prevents me, needing to answer or point to or copy and paste links in for commonly asked questions also saves me time too. So perfect that it's now showing up. Makes all of our lives easier. Busy Lizzie, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she is officially back at university, as is my youngest. She says she's made plans to help with her assessments. She says and the way she writes reports and essays. She says the structure she was struggling with, so she went and received help in order to get the best possible grade that she can. She says, so wish me luck with that. All the best with that. Yes, you need to find your rhythm. So it's good that you've gone and sort of sought out help for that. Don't forget you can tweak that rhythm or that order of things if you find that it's not quite working for you. It may be something that you need to tweak a little bit, and then you'll hopefully be able to find your perfect fit, and you'll not have to worry about that side of things, and you can concentrate on getting your resources and all the rest of it. She says last week, she says, was just an introduction, though classes were starting, she says, with the subjects. But it was a nice settle-in period that happens for the second week every academic year. She says the first week was the induction, she says, which she had now 2 weeks ago. She says, which just gives you information about what will happen in the academic year. She says that week, she says you don't have to attend. It's also called Freshers Week, which is, yes, that's the week my daughter missed, was Freshers Week. She's going into year 3, so she figured a holiday with family to Cornwall was better for her than Freshers Week. And she's not wrong. She says, which is what you call it, she says, but in Scotland it's also known as Induction Week. Yeah, it's probably one of those that go to university call it Freshers Week, and those that are in the university system, the academics, call it Induction Week because it sounds better. It sounds more official than get yourself to uni and get yourself drunk and make friends, which is what a lot of Freshers Week is. Even if there is introduction things and stuff at uni. The nighttime revelry is what many students love about Freshers Week. Get themselves settled in a little bit before they have to kick up the harder study time. Becky, she says, hi Rebecca. She says if her vote counts, which your vote always counts, she says she votes for putting the cover paper on the website, and we'll just have to wait, she says, for the diamond painting. She says since she wasn't around last year, she is needing, like it, she's needing autumn, Halloween and Christmas cover paper. She says, have a great quilting sewing day. Oh, thank you. Yes, I forgot. I did have my quilting day last Saturday. I will say I didn't get much quilting done, but I did get a lot out of the day. Caris was the youngest there, as she expected to be. I was the second youngest there, as maybe I didn't quite as expect to be. But no, it was a bunch of absolutely lovely ladies. And it was really nice chatting to them all and things like that and catching up. Caris got quite a bit done on her quilts, though she was absolutely exhausted. She had driven back from Cornwall. I think they left Cornwall at about 11:30 the night before. I think it was then. They got home early hours of the morning anyway, so she'd only had a couple of hours sleep because she did do the driving. So yeah, she was absolutely exhausted, but she had an amazing day. And yeah, unfortunately she can't go to the next one, just due to other things going on. I did ask Megan if she wanted to come instead. However, she has a wedding, so I will be going on my own next time, which is fine. I know the ladies now, so it'll be lovely to potentially get a bit more sewing done. But yeah, I did get to grips with my sort of quilt kit and what I needed to be doing for that, so that was good. And I actually got some of that done. I actually got some of it done when I got home, and got started on that quilt kit, so I'll be able to do some more of that next time that I go. And yeah, very, very productive day. Oh, and a very enjoyable day, which was also good. Good to know. Alley Cat, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, hubby and herself just got back from an Alaskan cruise. She says she had an awesome time. She says the ship had an English breakfast station, and although she couldn't bring herself to try a blood sausage, don't blame you on that front, she says she did try a coddled egg. She says it was similar to a poached egg, but slightly different. She says, what exactly is it? She also says walking in the rain is looking fantastic. Right, well, I did have to Google this, okay, because coddled egg isn't like, I wouldn't say it's like a ever popular and that's all that people ever have, because I'd never heard of a coddled egg. But I do recognise it when I see it, and it is extremely similar to a poached egg. The difference is, and I did Google, say, what a coddled egg was, and one of the main questions, and this is probably the best explanation, is it says, what's the difference between a poached egg and a coddled egg? So while a poached egg is also cooked directly in hot water, a coddled egg is cooked in a ramekin, a small jar, or an egg coddler, which I'm guessing is where the name comes from, which is placed into a water bath. So it has a gentle transfer of heat through the ramekin or through the pot, cooks the egg, and then you're supposed to eat the egg straight out of that cooking vessel, and it's not put on a plate. So with a poached egg, you'll either put it straight in the water, I think, or you put it in a dish and then you tip it out and you put it on your plate. This one, it gets cooked in something and then it stays in that when you eat it. But yeah, very, very similar to a poached egg. But yeah, I did go looking to figure that one out because I had no idea. But yeah, blood sausage, stay away from that. I'm not interested in that either. Black pudding as well, not interested in that. No, not a fan of black pudding. I don't need that. I can survive quite well without that in my life. Thank you very much. Meg, she says she's sorry to hear that customs are being painful. She says we zesties are patient people, which you are, which is absolutely amazing. I'm not having to deal with multiple emails asking when it's coming out, which I really appreciate. But she says we'll happily wait till they get themselves together. She says for herself, it just means that she will order some of the bits in her basket and make another order when they come in. She says we do appreciate, she says, all you do for us. Oh, thank you. She says, having been self-employed, she says, for most of her working life, she says, so she understands the joy of shipments coming from overseas. which, yes, can sometimes be an absolute joy and other times can be a nightmare, followed by joy when it arrives. She says also the fun, she says, of trying to find personal time. She says, glad that I am quilting and finding joy in family. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm loving that as my sort of weekend hobby. It definitely helps me segregate between or split between the two, because I do thoroughly enjoy diamond painting, of course, but it can, depending on what it is that I'm diamond painting, it can sometimes feel a bit work, not because I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, but because when I'm diamond painting, my brain often goes to work. And starts thinking of things surrounding diamond painting, which can potentially make it workish. So yeah, it's good to have something to do that is completely different kind of project. And I have completely taken over the dining table now as well. I do often try and move things out of the way at the weekend, but sometimes, yeah, it just may end up hanging about for an extra couple of days before I finally shift stuff. But yeah, absolutely loving it. I actually have 2 more quilt tops ready to go. I have finished Caris's quilt top. That she wanted exactly the same as Catherine's. We just need to go and pick up the backing for that. I think she wants Spider-Man on the backing of her quilt. So yeah, we need to go and pick that up. And then I recently finished a quilt that I made from a layer cake. Quite straightforward quilt. With a winter theme, so I thought while it's getting colder it would be perfect to have that one to help keep us warm in the winter. And I've got plans for a Christmas one as well, again from a layer cake that I picked up in Llandudno. A different design for this one, but I'm planning on doing another quilt pretty much just using the layer cake, and yeah, making a Christmas quilt too. I feel like if I don't use that Christmas and winter layer cakes quite promptly, then they could end up sitting in my stash for ages. Whereas if I make myself a Christmas quilt and have a Christmas quilt, then yeah, that'll sort of hit that bug. And it's a really easy quilt top to sort of put together. I could potentially put together the quilt top in one weekend. And then I have my more complicated kit from my sew days that's sort of going on in the sidelines in the background as well. So yeah, I get to mix a complicated project, or at least complicated for me, a bit more fiddly, bit more time consuming project alongside a fairly easy and quick and get to see movement project, which is pretty much what I do with my diamond painting as well. I like to mix up the two of those in the same sort of way, so it was bound to happen with my quilting as well. A complicated quilt and a not so complicated quilt, and by the time they all come together, they'll look amazing. Right, next colour done. I do like it when the colours form like this and I can just move them across. Right, sorry, I did sneak for a quick brew. Motivation this week is out of the window. Okay, Shirley. She says, hi Warburton family. She says, last week, she says you were talking about other hobbies. She says her other hobby is to copy books onto paper. She says, but word by word. She said, sorry, there's no pictures. She says, but she's currently on the Encyclopedia of Guns. Oh my goodness me. I have seen Shirley has since posted in the Facebook group, if you do want to see. She's got very neat writing. She says she's been doing this since she left school, on and off. She says she's only doing it to pass the time, she says, because she is housebound. And she's also done her right arm in somehow by twisting it, so she's not able to do much diamond painting. She says as it hurts her shoulder, arm / wrist, elbow and wrist. She said it's left-handed. She's left-handed, she said, so it is much harder for her to do things with her right arm being out of order. She says, thank you for reading this. She says she hopes that Megan and siblings enjoyed themselves in Cornwall. They did. Thank you very much. They had an amazing time. They brought me back some Cornish shortbread that I've actually just finished. I just had the last biscuit with my brew. And they also brought me back a cream tea, which was amazing. As always, gotta love a Cornish cream tea. So yeah, they definitely know what their mama likes. That's for sure. Bring me back a cream tea and I'm a happy bunny. But yeah, they had good fun. Meg, she says she's come back to say, she says, thank you so much, she says, for all that you do for us. She says, and she's glad to hear that I sounded brighter towards the end of the video. I think it was a late night one as well that I did that one. I did actually think about doing this one last night, doing this section. I also thought about doing this section on my own and then potentially filming this section, the next one, as today's, but as you may be able to tell, neither of those things happened, which is quite often the way it is this week. All good intentions, but no completion, seems to be my theme for this week. But it's all good. I am going to film this video. I still need to film all the others. But I'm going to film this video. I'm going to go and pack orders and get those all sorted. And then I think what I'm actually going to do then is, I think I'm too busy thinking about all the things I need to do than actually doing any things. So I think it's going to be time for a brain dump. So while I am editing and waiting for this video to upload and all the rest of it, so it actually goes up today, I think I'm going to do a brain dump of everything, and then I'm hoping that will then motivate me to potentially get as many of those things sort of knocked off the list, my brain dump list, that take a couple of minutes. You know, that will take 5 minutes or less, or maybe even 10 minutes. And just try and see how many of those things I can get sort of completed. And then hopefully have a better day tomorrow. But we shall see. If not, I'll write it all off till next week. Kim, she says once she had entered all the DMC numbers and the symbols were entered in, she said markup worked well for her. She says there is unfortunately an annual subscription for the programme. She says that she did pay for because she knew she wasn't going to do the Diamond Art Studio mystery event until January, so it would have gone beyond the free trial period. She said it was not costly in her opinion. She said she has never had a tablet that allowed her to work with Pattern Keeper, so she's got no comparison to be able to add. She says your Heaven and Earth design only has a few colours, which it does. It only has 15, so that's good. So it should be easy to key in. She says there is a video on YouTube, she says, that explains how to get the legend onto the programme. She says she bets that a Heaven and Earth design project is frequently added to markup, so it would probably work well. I might have to have a look at that one day. If you do get a bit of a free trial, that should be enough for me with having used Pattern Keeper as to whether to go. Now I'm just sticking with Pattern Keeper. But it would be kind of nice to try a different app as well, because I did all my last Heaven and Earth design using Pattern Keeper. So I have sort of used that one. It'd be nice to be able to do a video using a different one and see how different it is. With Pattern Keeper, I paid once for the app. So you got a free trial and then you paid once and done, which I kind of prefer to a yearly subscription, especially if it's not something I'm going to use all the time. You know, once I've done a Heaven and Earth design, I probably then won't be touching it again. But I don't know the cost, so we'll see what the cost is like. And then hopefully, once I pay for the subscription, yeah, I can just get it done in a year. Let's hope. Susan, she says, thank you for another amazing waffle. She says, sorry to hear about customs. She says, fingers and toes crossed. Oh, hang on, they're connected together. She says, fingers and toes crossed for the good news soon. Which, yes, we're hoping for 2 over here. We shall see how things go, but we are really hoping that we can get moving. I feel like that there's nothing like stock arriving and things being go, go, go to G me up and get me out of this kerfunk this week. She says, speaking of weather, she says where she lives in New Zealand, she said it feels like they are back in winter. She says highs of 10 to 13 degrees. Well, that's autumn for us. She says, and rain or snow every day. Ooh. No, you can ditch the snow, in my opinion. But yeah, we've had rain most days. Yeah, just, it's like, can we not just get the weather to just like rain at night or something? Do you know what I mean? Like if you do any rainfall, can you just do that at night time? And then we can plan our lives around the rain. Be good. She also says, speaking of a large diamond painting, she says she kitted up Inside a Fairy's Dream by Diamond Art Club. She said it is 107 centimetres by 70 centimetres, she said, and she couldn't start it because she was scared of how big it was. She says, but now she has started it and she can't stop. She says she is 10 days in and she is nearly halfway at the point of writing this. Well, you definitely decided to jump that hurdle, started taking those steps to get that mountain conquered, and it sounds like you are well and truly on a roll, which is fantastic. I love big ones. Almost Ali, she says she knows that each of these authors have book series, she says, but they're old ones, she says, but they are still going. She says they're main character series, so they're like individual little stories with a main character. So there is Patricia Cornwell, with Kay Scarpetta, which I think I have read some of those. I didn't not enjoy them, but I wouldn't say they gripped me. I think that's the way with that one. I think it's just the style of writing. It's just a little bit different than maybe my favourite. Jeffrey Diva with Lincoln Rhyme. James Patterson with Alex Cross and the Women's Murder Club. Now that might be one I need to try. I do like James Patterson, but I tend to read his ones that aren't part of a series. So maybe I should give the first one of those a go and see if I like his series one. That would potentially be a good one for me, or first one to try. Michael Connolly, Lincoln Lawyer and Harry Bosch. John Connolly with Charlie Parker. Lee Child with Jack Reacher. That's another one. I've read quite a few of Lee Child books. Ian Rankin with Rubus. Kathy Reichs with Temperance Brennan. And Harlan Coben. So many series. Yes, I do like Harlan Coben as well. She says she also enjoyed the Ruth Rendell books and did not dislike Richard Osman's book. I like that. Did not dislike. That's probably me with British Cornwall. She says for a change, she says she likes to indulge in a bit of teen fantasy slash mythology. Fiction with Rick Riordan, hopefully I've said his name right, and Cassandra Clare, Mortal Instruments, Clockwork and others. Well, there is some good suggestions there. I will definitely go looking at those. There are definitely a few names that I recognise. There's also been quite a few good free books that I have listened to recently, which I sort of like to dive into to try something a little bit different. I can't even remember who I'm currently listening to now. It's a series that I have most of the books, but there is a few new ones out. So yeah, I'm currently listening to those, quite enjoying them. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for new books because I definitely go through far more books than I do credits. I actually built up quite a few credits while I was re-listening to the JD Robb series, and I have one left because I just keep going through them. It's the way it goes. She also says she does love the chicken salt / seasoned salt on chips from the fish and chip shop. She says for all the non-Australians, she says the closest she can think to describe chicken salt is like KFC seasoning, only 1,000 times better. I'm with you on that one. I absolutely love it. She says they didn't get it off very often growing up in the 80s, as it was a treat and not a regular thing until her teens. In the 90s, she says, when it became a fortnightly Friday meal. When they moved into the suburbs, she says, from being in the bush. She says their big junk treat was crinkle cut chips or crisps and Vegemite sandwiches for lunch. She says, which she still has regularly, along with Vegemite and cheese jaffles, which is toasted sandwiches. Toasted sandwiches makes sense. Haven't heard of jaffles before, but I like it. She says, not sure if you have anything like our go-to tuck shop, school canteen. She says they don't have prepared school lunches, she says, like in other countries. She says lunch back in the 80s to 2000s was a chicken and gravy roll, which was diced or shredded chicken smothered in gravy in a hot dog style bun. She says they used to one-up it when making it at home by adding fish shop chips. She says best teenage meal ever. You gotta love a good teenage meal. Right, where's my star? Where are you, star? There you are. She says, sorry to hear about all the advent painting delays. She says here in Australia, she says she is currently on spring break from school. She's a high school maths teacher. And she is in Central Coast Queensland. She says they tend to not get much autumn or spring. She says they get about 6 weeks of winter, which is cold mornings below 10 and highs of 18 to 22. I love how you call that winter. That would be summer here. She says, and 4 weeks either side, she says, where the high temperatures are in low to mid 20s. She says, then bam. She says it is mid to high 20s and higher with humidity, she says, for the other 38 weeks. I love how winter is a completely different temperature in other countries to here. I would love to say that our winter is that, but then again, I would probably moan to high heaven when it came to dealing with your summer. So I think we should just all be able to move around the world according to the weather that we like. Danielle, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, a lurker here. Hello lurker. She says she started diamond painting about a year ago and she quickly got addicted, which is not hard at all. She says she found my channel, she says 6 to 8 months ago, and recently started binge watching, she said, all of my old videos. She says first she watched my WIP and Waffle playlist. She says then she watched my preparation playlist, then the completed playlist. She says now she has started from my first diamond painting video and she's going through the diamond painting playlist, which has pretty much everything in it. Well, everything diamond painting related. She says, so every diamond painting video. She says she watches my videos all day. She says, and then days she works, and then she starts up again while she's there, and they continue even while she sleeps. Bless. She says she only works 15 hours a week due to being on disability. She says so she gets a lot of time to sit and diamond paint and listen to my videos. She says hopefully, she says since she is a YouTube premium member, she says you get a little chunk from me non-stop watching. Oh, thank you. Yes, YouTube premium does still give a bit to the creators in relation to that, but then you don't have to deal with the adverts. She says she diamond paints with a 6 placer. She said, and she's found that's her perfect size due to being able to quickly identify 6 or less without having to count diamonds individually, which I get, and that's a big thing when multi-placing, is how many your brain can sort of quickly count, so that you're not spending all your time counting before you can even place any diamonds. She says also she is a huge JD Robb fan. Good. She says for over 10 years now. She says thank you for all that you do. She says love from Iowa, USA. Oh, thank you for coming out of lurking to leave your comment. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying the older videos. I forget, I don't even know how many videos I've done now. I just know it's lots and lots and lots. We'll probably keep you going for quite a while yet. But yeah, I do love making videos. I do. There are sometimes my bum may not want to move off the couch, but as soon as I actually start filming, I love it. So yeah, I'm glad that people are getting enjoyment out of it too. Yvette, hi Yvette, she says, great WIP and waffle as always. She says she can't believe that we're near the end. She says a meetup, she says, or even a planned retreat, she says, would be a great idea. It would. Might have to speak to Sam at some point once the chaos calms down and see whether we can find somewhere that could potentially work for us to just hire for a day or maybe even a weekend, and just go and be able to meet up and diamond paint and try and keep it relaxed for the first one, as in we don't have to do loads and loads of planning, because that can get chaotic. But yeah, potentially see if we can get enough people that are able to travel or spend the time and come and just sit and diamond paint with us for the weekend, and yeah, just chat and socialise and have fun, which is always good. Right, let's get this other letter S. Christina, she says, it's really interesting. She says that you're allowed to drive out on the road without a licence, she says, while you're learning. She says, but obviously motorways are a no-no. Yeah, motorways should be a no-no for quite a few different people, to be fair, even if they have passed their test. But anyway, she said it's probably good that you still need a professional licence and a special licence plate and a provisional licence. Yeah, because it's what, I mean, I say a lot of people do learn to drive with a driving instructor. That is the most common, or at least it is around here, around the towns and cities. That is definitely the most common. And they do have dual control. So, they are always able to potentially stop any accidents that could happen. More rural places, of course, there are less cars on the road, and there's likely to be more private land as well. And most people, it is a matter that if they are teaching a family member to drive, they will drive to somewhere like a car park or somewhere more secluded, a big car park for somewhere that's closed already, go in the evening when the shops are shut, and teach somebody to drive that sort of way, with the provisional license and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's not something that's a big deal here at all. She says they have something similar with being able to drive at 17, she says, and apply at 16. She says, though, you need to note down 1 or 2 experienced drivers, and at least one always has to accompany you while you're driving. Right, sorry. Can you hear Luna? The door's gone. Yeah, where was I? My memory card decided to save and my battery was also flashing. So I've just decided to change it as well, and now I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so at least one has to accompany you while driving. It's the same with private land as it is with us in the UK. So yeah, while we don't have to nominate anybody that we're going to be learning to drive with, you do have to have an experienced driver with you, who's held a licence for at least 2 years, though that may be higher now. But yeah, most people just use a driving instructor, use their car. And one more. I thought that was it for comments on my Heaven and Earth design, but we do have another one. Dimitri says, hey, Rebecca and Zesties. So thank you so much for the video. They love the design and colours of this one. And they've said shalom and greetings from Belgium. Greetings to Belgium from the dark and dingy UK. Do you know what I really don't like the most about like this time of year, autumn, winter and all that? It's going dark so early. I think that's why I love spring as well. Just the daytime just comes so much quicker. I find my days, because the days are getting shorter, the amount of productivity in me and stuff I can get done is also shorter. It's just too short. My days aren't long enough. I like them longer. Yes, that is all the comments from these WIP and Waffles. So let's go down and get a couple from an older on the last day while we finish up. Because it will be a shorter WIP and Waffle this Sunday because I have no painting. I haven't yet kitted up my new one. Haven't even filmed it yet at all, and I need to film that WIP and Waffle beforehand because it's been one of those weeks. So time is not on my side this week, or maybe I'm not on my side this week, who knows. So I'll be doing a paint gem this week, so the video will be a bit shorter, but we are nearly caught up on comments. So this comment that I'm about to read from an on the last day is actually 2 weeks ago, so we are very much like able to potentially catch up on WIP and Waffle comments within the next week or two, and then I'll be reading everything from like the last week. But Lady Dak, she says she is trying to plough through city streets in the snow before work starts on her kitchen. Whoop whoop. She says, well, near disaster last week. Ooh, she says coffee slipped out of her hand. How dare it? It needs to be drank. She says, but thanks to P. Jelly's quick reflexes, she says, and the quality of the printed cover paper and Diamond Art Studio canvas, she says the damage was minimal. She says only staining the edges that will be ultimately removed or hidden. Oh, she says she just wished the laptop had fared as well. Oh, I was about to say that's amazing, and then I read the last sentence and it's like, oh, not as much. Yeah, that is just gutting. Poor laptop. Kim, she says she is glad that I squeezed in a WIP and Waffle before I left. She says you're not supposed to exhaust yourself. She says before you leave. She says then as good as you feel, she says, having everything done, you're too pooped, she says, to fully enjoy your trip. I know, but it's the coming back to it that's the problem. It's coming back to a to-do list. Then I can't relax because I keep thinking of everything I should be doing at home. It's one of those no-win situations. She says her folks used to drive her around as a baby because she was horrible to put down at night. She says she guesses it worked well. She says the problem is she has to drive hubby and herself everywhere because when she sits in the passenger seat, she says she's out like a light. She says she's a total bore as a passenger. Love it. It's one of those, just takes you straight back to your childhood and just boom, gone. I can't sleep. I can't sleep when in a car, so I'm a perfect long trip companion. I will stay awake and chat lots. Pinky, she says North Wales, she says, is great. She says she's been there a few times when she was a teenager. She says she hopes that we enjoy our time there. She says she went to Rill and went to a caravan park in Prestatyn. She said it was awesome. She said, and she met some good famous people there. Awesome. I have to ask a question in relation to Prestatyn. Because while we were in sort of a bit more West Wales or Northwest Wales rather than full on north, we did drive a sort of slightly different way than we would have done just going straight to North Wales. But otherwise, when we drive to North Wales, we do hit signs and being close to Prestatyn quite early on in Wales. Like the signs appear for Prestatyn quite early on. Does anybody else have the car game where as soon as you see a sign for Prestatyn, you have to poke the person sitting next to you or in front of you? Because then you are pressing that in. Just a little side note. Does anybody else play that sort of game? So yeah, I happened to get hubby on the way. Or I can't even remember if it was on the way or one of our trips when we went out for the day. So we were driving somewhere and then a sign did come up with the distance to Prestatyn. And yeah, I managed to spot it before he did. He was concentrating on driving, but hey ho, you know, if he doesn't read the signs as he's doing it, then, you know, because he's too busy concentrating on the road, then fair game for me, in my opinion. But yeah, so on that little note, let's see how many topics we get next time on different road signs and different things that people do in the car when they see certain things on a road sign. I think Prestatyn is our only main one that we physically do something. There's car games, but they're different. This one's a car game no matter where you're going and when. If you see a sign for Prestatyn, you have to press that in. Okay, we are done with another section. Absolutely love the colour in this. I am going to try and get some more of this done this next week. I have no idea how time's going to go, so I've no idea whether we'll end up with a couple more videos or whether I'll get all the way to near the end done. Who knows? It really depends how my week goes. But yeah, I am going to try and get some more of this done because I think it would be nice to start on a new project to give us a chance to do some of it before the likes of December Advent kicks in and it gets paused until the new year. So yeah, so I'd love to be able to get some of that, get that started, especially now my diamonds are here. I'm itching. I don't have the time this week. I know I don't have the time this week to start sorting out the diamonds and stuff, but I'm also kind of itching to get those sorted and kitted up and get that filmed so that, yeah, we can slip that in on a Thursday as part of the series. It's also going to be extremely fun to dekit this one as well though, so that will be coming up at some point. But yeah, thank you so much for watching for today. Let's see how far I am forward on this next Thursday. Could be absolutely nowhere. We could be finishing it up. Who knows? I will speak to you then. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll speak to you all again soon.